All right. Good morning, Meditate School of Mindfulness and Sound Healing. This is Becky. It is Sunday, November 20th, and I am coming to you from my actual home in Sarasota, which is weird, I know. Usually I'm coming from so many different places. So I am actually going to be taking next week off. It's a holiday weekend, essentially, and I'm going to be in Lake Worth, and I'm going to be doing some things. So next week, I won't be offering a class, but for today, we are going to talk mindfulness. But before we get started, I want to just take a second, and if we can close our eyes. And since we're talking mindfulness today, let's kind of come into this space and let's bring ourselves into this present moment, because that's what we're going to be talking about, is present moment awareness. So close your eyes, plant your feet on the floor, relax your jaw, drop your shoulders down, and let's take a nice big deep breath in and exhale. And I want you to imagine that with each breath in and out, you're pulling your energy and your focus from out into the world, and you're pulling that focus and awareness back into yourself. So imagine that you're grabbing all of these pieces of yourself that have been been flung out into the world today, and just bring all those little cords back into yourself, pull them into that heart center. And we really just want to be in a place of present moment awareness. There's lots of things going on a Sunday, going on the weekends, going on throughout a day. But for the next hour for this class, let's just be right here in this present moment. And then once this class is over, we can get back to our crazy busy lives and doing all the things we're doing. So let's take one more big deep breath all the way in and exhale with a sigh. And when we feel ready, opening our eyes and finding ourselves in this moment right here, ready to do some learning about mindfulness. So most people are forgetful. I know that I am. I need lists for everything these days, y'all. They are not really there a lot of the time. Their mind is caught in the worries and fears, anger, regrets, and we're just not able to be right here, right now. That state of being is called forgetfulness. We're here, but we're not really here. We're caught in the past or in the future. We're not here in the present moment, living our lives deeply. When we're not living in that flow, we're considered in a state of forgetfulness. The opposite of forgetfulness is mindfulness. Mindfulness is when you are truly there, mind and body together. You breathe in and out mindfully. You bring your mind back to your body, and you are here. When your mind is here with your body, you are established in the present moment. Then you can recognize the many conditions of happiness that are in us and around us, and happiness can just flow naturally. Thich Nhat Hanh, who is considered the father of mindfulness, he believes that our true home is not in the past. Our true home is not in the future. Our true home is in the here and the now. Life is available only in the here and the now, and it is our true home. Mindfulness is the energy that helps us recognize the conditions of happiness that are already present in our lives. You don't have to wait 10 years to experience this happiness. It is present in every moment of our daily lives. There are those of us who are alive, but we don't know it. But when you breathe in and you are aware of your in-breath, you touch the miracle of being alive. That is why mindfulness is a source of happiness and joy. During the time you are practicing mindfulness, you stop talking. Not only the talking outside, but the talking inside. The talking inside is the thinking, the mental discourse that goes on and on and on and on and on. Real silence is the cessation of talking, of both the mouth and the mind. This is not the kind of silence that oppresses us. It is a very elegant kind of silence, a very powerful kind of silence. It is the silence that heals and nourishes us. Mindfulness gives birth to joy and happiness, which also brings concentration. The energy of mindfulness carries within it the energy of concentration. When you are aware of something, such as a flower, and can maintain that awareness, we say that you are concentrating on the flower. When your mindfulness becomes powerful, your concentration becomes powerful. And when you are fully concentrated, you have a chance to make a breakthrough, to achieve insight. If you meditate on a cloud, you can get insight into the nature of the cloud. Or you can meditate on a pebble, and if you have enough mindfulness and concentration, you can see into the nature of the pebble. You can meditate on a person, and if you have enough mindfulness and concentration, you can make a breakthrough and understand the nature of that person. But you can also meditate on yourself, on your anger, on your fear, on your joy, on your peace, and gain greater insight into yourself. And that is one of the key paths, the key pillars of mindfulness. Anything can be the object of your meditation. And with the powerful energy of concentration, you can make a breakthrough and develop an insight. It's like a magnifying glass concentrating the light of the sun. If you put the point of concentrated light on a piece of paper, it will burn. Similarly, when your mindfulness and concentration are powerful, your insight will liberate you from fear, anger, and despair and bring you true joy, true peace, and true happiness. When you contemplate the big, full sunrise, the more mindful and concentrated you are, the more the beauty of the sunrise is revealed to you. Suppose you are offered a cup of tea, very fragrant, very good tea. Maybe it's chamomile lavender, and it's everything that you wanted to be in this cup. If your mind is distracted, you cannot really enjoy that cup of tea. You're too busy doing other things, and you're just mindlessly consuming things while you're doing all these other things. You have to be mindful of the tea. You have to be concentrated on it so the tea can reveal its fragrance and wonder to you. That is why mindfulness and concentration are such sources of happiness. That's why a good practitioner knows how to create a moment of joy, a feeling of happiness at any time of the day, doing any activity. According to Thich Nhat Hanh, mindfulness is the energy of being aware and awake to the present moment. It is the continuous practice of touching life deeply in every moment of daily life. To be mindful is to be truly alive, present, and at one with those around you and with what you are doing. We bring our body and mind into harmony while we wash the dishes, while we're driving our car, while we're taking a morning shower, while we're walking, while we're doing any of the things that we're doing. It's that intention to stay in present moment awareness without getting distracted and walking through life on autopilot. To be mindful is to be truly alive and present with the people around you. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that mindfulness should be practiced during all of your activities throughout the day, whether you're working, driving, walking, eating, or interacting with others. The goal is to bring the body and the mind into harmony. When your mind is caught up in worries, regrets, angers, or fears of what's to come, you aren't fully present in the here and now. According to Thich Nhat Hanh, mindfulness practice should be effortless and peaceful. It's not something that you should be forced to do, but a practice that can bring you joy and inner peace. Using his approach, mindfulness should be practiced with a relaxed and gentle attitude and with a completely open mind. Mindfulness is about training yourself to pay attention in a specific way. When a person is mindful, they focus on the present moment. Try not to think about anything that went on in the past or that might be coming up in the future. Purposefully concentrate on what's happening around them, and they try not to be judgmental about anything they notice or label things as good or bad. Now, if you've taken any sort of sound healing class that I have been a co-teacher in, you have heard a lot of these principles because, a practice of mindfulness is sound healing. It's meditation, it's relaxation, it's sound healing. So a lot of the things that we're talking about today, and why I really wanted to talk about mindfulness today is that a lot of these principles, a lot of these things, this present moment awareness and all of this stuff that we've been talking about, it's all looped back to mindfulness. Because sound healing is a mindful practice, I believe that to be a truly great practitioner of sound, to be a truly great teacher of sound, you need to be a practitioner of mindfulness. I think it's really important. And I think we're starting to really feel that connection coming into both of our practices. So within Meditate School of Mindfulness, we have Meditate School of Mindfulness and School of Sound Healing. And they are separate entities, but to be honest with you, mindfulness and sound healing, they're just like this. So a lot of my students that I've been mentoring lately have been asking kind of what their next step is. They've taken level 1 and they've taken level 2, and now they want to know what's next. And for me, I think mindfulness is what should be next for a lot of people that are out here doing this study, because I think if you're planning on working one-on-one with people, if you're planning on working in group sound baths, having this knowledge of mindfulness and then taking it a step further and even digging into maybe becoming a mindfulness coach, a transformational life coach, is really a great step, because you can then take those clients and you can take them through their whole journey. So you can help relax them and help them find their true frequency and vibration through sound healing, but then you can work one-on-one with them through coaching. You can teach people how to meditate. You can teach them how to incorporate gratitude and all of these other amazing things within their lives. So I hope that this mindfulness section doesn't feel too random all of a sudden that we're talking about this, but I think that this is a big portion of things that we should really be leaning into. And if we're leaning into sound and this is the path that we want to walk, I think mindfulness is something that really goes hand in hand with that. I don't know where my sound practice would be without my mindfulness background and knowledge. So just going to put that out there. Let's see, when we're angry, and if we know that we're angry, that's mindfulness of anger. Mindfulness of anger puts us in a safer position. If we are angry and if we are not mindful, then we are angry, and we are not mindful that we are angry, then the situation is more dangerous. So mindfulness of sadness, mindfulness of joy, mindfulness of anger, mindfulness of drinking, mindfulness of walking, mindfulness of breathing, etc., can be practiced at every moment of our daily life. And by that, we cultivate the energy of mindfulness. So also, that present moment awareness really has the ability sometimes to where I'm talking about that anger can be dangerous is if we're not aware that we're angry, then we are just out there flinging our anger on everyone and we're making decisions from that angry place. But if we can become aware, okay, I'm angry right now, then hopefully what that does for me when I go, oh, I'm angry. Okay, I need to take some deep breaths. I need to sit and center myself. I maybe don't need to be out there talking to people and spreading my anger all over the place. Maybe I need to take a minute. There's lots of things that present moment awareness of my feelings can do for me so that I don't go out into the world like a maniac with my anger all over the place. Now, does that mean that present moment awareness instantly takes the anger away? It doesn't, but I will say it kind of does, because when I acknowledge that I'm angry or sad or overwhelmed or frustrated or pissed off, when I acknowledge that, usually I go, ooh, I'm so frustrated right now. And as soon as I say that, it's almost like that energy is released in that moment. Now, again, it doesn't mean the frustration is completely gone. It means that I've now put some space in between that frustration and anger and myself, so that now I can go, okay, I'm frustrated. Why? And how do I go about rectifying this? And then I can take it from there. Mindfulness is a state that can be brought on through practice. It's not static, nor are some people born more mindful than others. I kind of vacillate back and forth on this, because I do believe that there are those indigo kids, those kids that are born wide open when the rest of us are not. So I do actually believe that sometimes some of us are born more mindful, but I don't think that most of us are just like, oh, my mindfulness muscle is stronger than yours. I think it's practice and dedication, but I don't think any of us are born more, more mindful than anyone else. Mindfulness involves awareness and impartiality about what we gain from this awareness. In an age of social media where opinions, likes, and commentary are more than forthcoming, it's easy to see how non-judgmental reflection can be a welcome and necessary change. I have to say, going through another election time, social media and all of that, I'm so thankful that we are on the Mighty Network and that our Meditate tribe is kind of moving off of Facebook. Because if I didn't have the business, I feel like I would just be off of Facebook completely. I'm kind of over just the overwhelm of all of it. During a state of mindfulness, you will notice your thoughts and physical sensations as they happen. The goal is not to clear your mind or to stop thinking. It is to become aware of your thoughts and feelings rather than getting lost in them in a non-judgmental manner. Above all, mindfulness practice involves accepting whatever arises in your awareness at each moment. Accepting whatever arises in your awareness at each moment, that really rings true of radical acceptance, right? So radical acceptance is when I started doing this mindfulness program, and I will say, I got into Meditate School of Mindfulness and Sound Healing just before COVID shut everything down. And I had been kind of walking a mindfulness path without necessarily calling it mindfulness. I was raised Catholic. By the 6th grade, I had worn my mother down so that I didn't have to go to church anymore. It was just something that didn't resonate with me. The teachings and the energy and just everything was not something that really resonated with me. So when I was in middle school, I started, looking around for different religions and different ways that people were doing things. And by high school, I had found energy work and crystals and Wicca, and I was part of a coven. And, that was really my first foray into kind of studying alternative ways of thinking and energy and all of this. And then I got into massage and really working with energy in a completely different way and really connecting into that. And then, finding myself in my early 30s divorced and living in a state that I didn't really care for. And, finding myself in a situation where, my whole life was not at all the path that I saw in front of me. And what do I do now? And, they always say that when you need it, the teacher appears. And so we have this really beautiful shaman here in Sarasota, and I happened to take some classes with her, which put me on this mindfulness path. Really, that's where it started. It started with chakras and it started with meditation and it started with all of this. And, I think with learning all of that really comes this teaching of radical acceptance. And so for me, it was, why did I get divorced? Why did this fall apart? Why am I living in this, all these things that just kept swirling around and around and around. And every time I would go somewhere and try to get some help from someone and try to work out the energy, all I was finding was people that wanted to rehash all of the things that I had been through. And I think that there's benefit to that. But I feel like after so long, I had hashed out every single viewpoint of this situation that had happened. There was nothing else to do, but I wasn't moving forward. And I learned radical acceptance, and now I am able to move forward through almost anything. I feel like, radical acceptance. Hang on, you guys, I'm going to admit Sherry into here. So radical acceptance is something that it is finding a way to put those backpacks that we're carrying of emotional trauma, PTSD trauma, past whatever, all of those things that keep us trapped in the past, all of those things that keep us worried about the future. Radical acceptance teaches us to put those things down and move forward without those things weighing us down. And maybe not having resolutions for those things. I am never going to get the answers that I feel like I deserved when my life fell apart. But you know what? It's accepting that whatever is arising in this moment is exactly what's meant for me, and being able to put those things down and move forward with just the acceptance that This has all been for my highest good, and I need to move forward through this. And so I think that's one of the greatest things that mindfulness has taught me, is that radical acceptance piece, that you may not have all the answers, and you may not ever be able to accept or understand. And it's not letting people off the hook. It's not going, oh, this person hurt me, but I'm just going to accept it. And it's not that at all. It's acknowledging that within you, this did happen. But if you continue on the same path, this thing, this person, this whatever could ruin your life moving forward forever. And it's making the choice to go, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm going to put these things down and I'm going to choose to move forward. And these things are just part of my story, and they have made me who I am today. And learning that radical acceptance really did change my life. It really did. Learning and diving into mindfulness, really diving into this, like mindfulness in itself, and that radical acceptance can really be life-changing. Some experts believe that mindfulness works in part by helping people to accept their experiences, including painful emotions, rather than react to them with aversion and avoidance. It becomes increasingly common for mindfulness meditation to be combined with psychotherapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy. This development makes good sense, since both meditation and cognitive behavioral therapy share the common goal of helping people gain perspective on irrational, maladaptive, and self-defeating thoughts. It involves being kind and forgiving towards yourself. Another benefit of mindfulness is that it helps us connect the mind and body. The mind-body connection is mindfulness. The mind-body connection is the seamless union of the physical, energetic, and mental bodies. Within the mind-body connection, all functions of our body, our energy, and our mentality are in balance and cooperating. They are in cohesion. If you're practicing mindfulness, you get the mind-body connection as a result. If you focus on mind-body connection, you create mindfulness. At any moment, you can tune into your mind-body connection, always helping to provide you a more clear sense of direction. So I always ask people when they say, I don't know how to make a decision. I have this decision. I don't know which job to take. I don't know what to do here, da, 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 da. And I always say, okay. And I do some breathing exercises. I have them center. And then I always say, check in with your gut, not your heart, not your brain. The heart and the brain are good, but what does your gut tell you? Because, sometimes by sinking down further into our gut, we're really pulling that mind-body connection right down into that seat of our soul, that root center, that gut, that area. And that really helps to, because sometimes we get to thinking too much with this, and sometimes we get to thinking too much with this, and then we get all, but when you check in with your gut, usually you can check in and go, oh yeah, yep, that feels good. Oh, no, that doesn't. And we can lie to our head and our heart sometimes. Our gut is a little bit, it doesn't succumb to our to our brain as much. Another pioneer of mindfulness is Jon Kabat-Zinn. Jon Kabat-Zinn is the founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction, so MBSR. His research has shown that mindfulness-based interventions can improve both mental and physical health. He has worked to bring mindfulness into the mainstream of society, including schools, prisons, and hospitals. So he started out kind of from a Buddhist-based perspective, which is where Thich Nhat Hanh kind of gets his perspective from his Buddhist practices and beliefs. Jon Kabat-Zinn kind of started out that way, but then really moved into more mindfulness from a medical point of view. And I think that was kind of smart, because it really does give that validity so that it can be kind of pushed into the more mainstream. I mean, think about, I think it was just last year we were talking about, a school finally lifted their ban on yoga, and the kids can do yoga as long as they don't use any like Buddhist words or Hindu words. Like, what does that even mean? Like, so we're okay to accept these things mainstream, but only in our own paradigm of things. And I think Jon Kabat-Zinn has a way of explaining mindfulness, and he has a stress clinic. And so he has made it more mainstream by keeping it more medical, by keeping it more in that like the anatomy and the physiology portion of it. So during his career, Jon Kabat-Zinn has books and meditation programs that describe mindfulness in clear, easy to understand terms that are more based on science than spirituality. This has contributed to mindfulness becoming a way of life for many people, particularly in our Western world. He has also used his mindfulness teachings to help people struggling with stress-related disorders or chronic pain as a method to reduce uncomfortable symptoms. Using moment-to-moment awareness or present moment awareness, people with painful medical conditions and psychiatric problems can improve their abilities to cope with stress and pain. And that's what all of these practices are. Some tips to keep in mind when practicing mindfulness. Gently redirect. If your mind wanders into planning, daydreaming, or criticism, notice where it has gone and gently redirect that mind back to the present. Try and try again. If you miss your intended meditation session, simply start again and cultivate mindfulness informally. In addition to formal meditation, you can also cultivate mindfulness informally by focusing your attention on your moment-to-moment sensations during everyday activities. This is done by single tasking, doing one thing at a time and giving it your full attention. Now, we live in a world where multitasking is key because a lot of the times we work in places where you're maybe doing 25 jobs. One person is now taking the place of maybe 5 people, or we just have so much to do that we feel like we need to multitask. But multitasking is kind of the killer of mindfulness because we're not focused on any of those things we're doing because we're too scattered into the 5 or 10 things that we're doing at one time. And I am certainly, prone to doing this very much. As you floss your teeth, pet the dog, or eat an apple, slow down the process and be fully present as it unfolds and involves all of your senses. So these are just some things to think about throughout your day when you feel like maybe your mindfulness practice is slipping away. So some benefits of mindfulness, you live more in the present moment. And let me tell you, the present moment is all we have. It is where we need to be living all the time. And it's so crazy that as humans, we really do tend to downplay how precious the years on this earth are. When you look at the grand scheme of the universe and the cosmos and how long planets have been and stars, and we are maybe most of us will get 90 years if we're lucky. It's a blip. Most things live way longer than this. And we come onto this earth and we get so busy doing that all of those years just fly by. We save up our entire lives to travel during retirement to finally enjoy our lives. And then most of us, by the time we get there, we can't enjoy them because we're sick or we're old or we're tired or we're whatever. And we put off this joy of living this life right now in these present moments. And so the present moment is all we have. The past has happened, and we can use the past to help us become better people in the present. The future, who even knows what's going to happen? I believe that the future, who even knows? Depending on the 25 choices I make today, depends on what happens tomorrow. So how can I even live there? This present moment is all we have. So, we really need to start doing things that help us live here instead of in all of those other places. Because again, the past has happened, and unless you have a time machine, you can't go back and change it. You can be better moving forward and more aware and more cognizant and maybe a nicer person or whatever it is, but you can't change it. So why live there? You're just reliving those things that happen over and over again. And you're wearing down those paths of your brain to just actively go to those places all the time. If you can start changing your mindset to living more presently, those neural pathways will not be as deep, and you will find that you are not living in those places as much. But you have to choose to actively live in the present moment. It is a choice sometimes. And when you first start practicing mindfulness, it is something that you have to choose sometimes. Even now, I'm not great at a meditation practice. I do really well for a couple weeks and I meditate every day, and then it starts to slide away. And then, okay, I'm going to bring it back online. And then I do really well for a while. And then, it's just something that I have to work at. It is a muscle. It is a practice. It is something that I have to work at, but it's a choice that I make to do or not to do. And it really does make me a more centered, calm person who is able to deal with the issues of life in a calmer fashion. Mindfulness brings us greater work-life balance. It can enhance resilience. We gain more clarity and focus in challenging times. Increased ability to see situations more clearly, improved concentration, better problem solving, better decision making, improved ability to orient attention, increased working memory, better planning and organization, better ability to manage and prevent stress, increased well-being overall, more self-acceptance, decreased anxiety, decreased depression, increased self-esteem, increased quality of sleep, and the list goes on and on and on. According to Jon Kabat-Zinn, to cultivate the healing power of mindfulness requires much more than mechanically following a recipe or a set of instructions. No real process of learning is like that. It is only when the mind is open and receptive that learning and seeing and change can occur. In practicing mindfulness, you will have to bring your whole being to the process. You can't just assume a meditative posture and think something will happen, or play a tape and think that the tape is going to do something for you. The attitude with which you undertake the practice of paying attention and being in the present is crucial. It is the soil in which you will cultivate your ability to calm your mind and to relax your body, to concentrate and see more clearly. If the attitudinal soil is depleted, that is, if your energy and commitment to practice are low, it will be hard to develop calm and relaxation with any consistency. If the soil is really polluted, that is, if you are trying to force yourself to feel relaxed or you demand of yourself that something happens, nothing will grow at all. Then you will quickly conclude that meditation doesn't work. It's not the meditation that doesn't work. It's your thought and intention behind it. So here's a new way of looking at things. To cultivate meditative awareness requires an entirely new way of looking at the process of learning. Since thinking that we know what we need and what we want to get are so ingrained in our minds, we can easily get caught up in trying to control things to make them turn out our way, the way we want them to. But this attitude is antithetical to the work of awareness and healing. Awareness requires only that we pay attention and see things as they are, not as we wish they were or as we want them to be, but we see things as they are. It doesn't require that we change anything. Healing requires receptivity and acceptance, attuning to connectedness and wholeness. None of this can be forced, just as you cannot force yourself to go to sleep. You have to create the right conditions for falling asleep, and then you have to let go. The same is true for relaxation. It cannot be achieved through force of will. That kind of effort will only produce tension and frustration. If you come to the meditation practice thinking to yourself, this won't work, but I'll do it anyway, the chances are it will not be very helpful. The first time you feel any pain or discomfort, you will be able to say to yourself, see, I knew this pain wouldn't go away, or I knew I wouldn't be able to concentrate. And that will confirm your suspicion that it wasn't going to work, and you will stop doing it. If you come as a true believer, certain that this is the right path for you, that meditation is the answer, the chances are you will soon become disappointed also. As soon as you find that you are the same person you always were, and that this work requires effort and consistency, and not just a romantic belief in the value of meditation or relaxation, you may find yourself with considerably less enthusiasm than before. Those people who come with a skeptical but open attitude seem to do the best. Our unmindful attitude is, I don't know whether this will work or not. I have my doubts, but I'm going to give it my best shot and see what happens. I feel like I do that a lot now. if an opportunity comes up and I go, I wonder if that could work. I don't know. Let's check it out and see what happens. That's all we could do. And most of the time, I'm not disappointed. And most of the time, if I am disappointed, it's usually a disappointment in maybe, oh, that's how I thought I wanted it to be. And I have to let that go now because this is really how it should be. And you know what? This way is better. But it is a little bit of a different attitude sometimes. So the attitude that we bring to the practice of mindfulness will, to a large extent, determine its long-term value to us. This is why consciously cultivating certain attitudes can be very helpful in getting the most out of the process of meditation and mindfulness. Our intentions set the stage for what is possible. They remind us from moment to moment of why we are practicing in the first place. Keeping particular attitudes in mind is actually part of mindfulness training itself, a way of directing and channeling your energies so that you can be most effectively brought to bear in the work of growing and healing. So Jon Kabat-Zinn has 9, he calls them attitudes. I think in a lot of our training, we have called them pillars of mindfulness. So I think I learned 7 pillars of mindfulness, but Jon Kabat-Zinn actually has 9 attitudes or pillars of mindfulness. So the first one is mindful attitudes of non-judging. So mindfulness is cultivated by assuming the stance of an impartial witness to your own experience. To do this requires that you become aware of the constant stream of judging and reacting to inner and outer experiences that we are all normally caught up in, and learn to step back from them. When we begin practicing paying attention to the activity of our own mind, it is common to discover and be surprised by the fact that we are constantly generating judgments about our experiences. This is a tough one. I still do this. And I find myself going, no, I just totally judged that. I just threw that right out there and judged that. And then I have to go, okay, just stop that. I do it with people too. I judge experiences and people. I'm just putting that out there. I'm Becky. I'm a judgment addict sometimes, and I'm really working on it. The second attitude is mindful attitudes of patience. So patience is a form of wisdom. It demonstrates that we understand and accept the fact that sometimes things must unfold in their own time. A child might try to help a butterfly to emerge by breaking open its chrysalis. Usually, the butterfly doesn't benefit from this at all. Any adult knows that the butterfly can only emerge in its own time, that the process cannot be hurried. And this is kind of that holding space for people's space as well. As healers and helpers, we want to help people find the path, and we want to give them, and we want to, you have to do this and you have to do this. Well, maybe that person isn't ready at the time. So that is one of those mindful attitudes of patience that we need to lean into. The third is a mindful attitude of the beginner's mind. The richness of present moment experience is the richness of life itself. Too often we let our thinking and our beliefs about what we know prevent us from seeing things as they really are. We tend to take the ordinary for granted and fail to grasp the extraordinariness of the ordinary. To see the richness of the present moment, we need to cultivate what has been called a beginner's mind, a mind that is willing to see everything as if for the first time, which also plays into that judgment, right? All of these things. So we talk about the chakras being like cogs. They work together. All of these attitudes work together because you can see that this beginner's mind will cut down on that judgment because we prejudge things based on past experience, right? So if we can come into it with that beginner's mind, we can really help kind of cut down on that judgment. So the fourth attitude is the mindful attitude of trust. Developing a basic trust in yourself and your feelings is an integral part of mindfulness and meditation training. It is far better to trust in your intuition and your own authority, even if you make some mistakes along the way, than always looking outside of yourself for guidance. If at any time something does not feel right to you, why not honor your feelings? The fifth attitude is a mindful attitude of non-striving. So almost everything we do is for a purpose, to get something or somewhere. But in an attitude of mindfulness, this striving attitude can be a real obstacle. That is because meditation is different from all other human activities. Although it takes a lot of work and energy of a certain kind, ultimately, meditation is non-doing. It has no goal except for you to be yourself. The irony is that you already are. So, the non-striving. I think that really happens a lot with people who say, I'll finally be happy when I have a mansion. I'll finally be happy when I have my dream job. I'll finally be happy. I'll finally be happy. And they're so busy striving for that future self, that future, that they're not enjoying the journey of getting there. They're not enjoying the present moment. And most of the time when we reach those goals that we think we wanted so much, they're not as fulfilling as we thought, and we just start striving for more. So how about just living in the present moment, checking in with where you think you truly need to be, and riding the flow of all of that. Also, that non-striving comes really handy with manifestation, right? So when we think, oh, I need money, I need da, 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 we have this, oh, I need it. And then we sit here and we think that if we concentrate hard enough, we'll just manifest that. That process of striving and struggling and really focusing is what blocks manifestation every time. That striving attitude blocks us. Non-striving keeps us in flow. So, if you want to be a better manifester, get into that non-striving. Number 6 is mindful attitudes of acceptance. So acceptance means seeing things as they actually are in the present. If you have a headache, accept that you have a headache. If you are overweight, why not accept it as a description of your body at this time? Sooner or later, we have to come to terms with things as they are and accept them. Radical acceptance. Often, acceptance is only reached after we have gone through very emotional-filled periods of denial and then anger. These stages are a natural progression in the process of coming to terms with what it is. Number 7, mindful attitudes of letting go. They say in India there is a particularly clever way of catching monkeys. As the story goes, hunters cut a hole in a coconut that is just big enough for a monkey to put its hand through. Then they put a banana inside of the coconut and hide. The monkey comes down, puts its hand in, and takes hold of the banana. But it seems most monkeys do not let go. Often our minds get us caught in very much the same way in spite of our intelligence. For this reason, cultivating the attitude of letting go or non-attachment is fundamental to the practice of attitudes for mindfulness. When we start paying attention to our inner experience, we rapidly discover that there are certain thoughts and feelings and situations that our mind seems to want to hold on to. And then we can reflect and get into those things from there. Number 8 is mindful attitudes of gratitude. Gratitude, there is a complex relationship between thoughts, moods, brain, chemistry, endocrine function, and functioning of other physiological systems in our body. While an in-depth discussion of this relationship is beyond the scope of what we're going to be talking about today, our thoughts can actually trigger physiological changes in our body that affect our mental and physical health. Basically, what we think affects how we feel, both emotionally and physically. I find that to be really interesting because, sometimes on days where I wake up and I feel like, man, I am walking around like Godzilla today, and I'm not really sure why. If I take a second, I smile and I go, okay, I'm choosing to be happy today. I'm choosing in this moment to not be elated or super, but just to let that go and to just try to think differently. Because when I can think happier thoughts, I start to feel happier. So if you increase your positive thoughts like gratitude, you can increase your subjective sense of well-being, as well as perhaps objective measures of physical health, like fewer symptoms of illness and increased immune functioning. So when we talk about someone who's in chronic pain, they're in that chronic pain all the time. They're not finding any gratitude. They've fallen down a hole of pain and discomfort, and this is never going to end. And what does this life look like for me? But if we can start to cultivate some of these practices of mindfulness, and gratitude is one of them, we can actually start to help that client feel better. Now, does that mean the knee pain completely goes away? No, but maybe we've given them enough space to be able to breathe around it. And we also have maybe helped them feel physically better in other ways by getting into a more positive state of mind. Let's see. Number 9 is mindful attitudes of generosity. The mindful attitude of generosity is another quality which, like patience, letting go, non-judging, and trust. It provides a solid foundation for mindfulness practices. You might experiment with using the cultivation of generosity as a vehicle for deep self-observation. As an inquiry, as well as an exercise in giving a good place to start, is with yourself. See if you can give yourself gifts that may be true blessings, such as self-acceptance, just throughout the day with no purpose at all. Practice being generous with the feeling of being deserving enough to accept these gifts without obligation, to simply receive from yourself and from the universe with no expectation or obligation. These attitudes are not something that come naturally for us, especially with the many distractions that take our attention and focus elsewhere. Most of us are now addicted to our technology and have less ability to focus our attention for a long period of time. We constantly check our news feed, emails, or texts, and are bombarded with information overload. The day goes by without us even checking in with ourselves, let alone spending time practicing mindfulness. But that ironically ends up making us feel more disconnected and more unhappy. And when we do slow down, we tend to feel guilty for doing so, like there's some kind of rule that tells us we need to be busy in every given moment to be productive and to make the most of each minute. I have a cousin who I love dearly, but she legit is going full blast every minute of every day. And her thing is, it's the sudden stop at the end of life that worries her. So she is just going to go and go and go and go until she just drops dead of just being completely busy. But that is just who she is. I don't know if she's ever slowed down and ever kind of reflected on any of that at all. And maybe she never will, but it would be interesting if she really did, because she is one of the busiest people I have ever known in my whole life. It actually makes me tired spending time with her because she's so busy all the time. Since breaking our addiction to technology is a much bigger task, we need to build practices in our daily lives to bring ourselves back to what really matters. Because we are so busy during our days, creating micro practices throughout the day to focus our attention can really help to keep us on track. So sometimes I think we feel like it has to be this big picture or nothing. I have to do all of these practices of mindfulness, or I'm not doing mindfulness at all and I just won't do anything. I'm either going to, and I do this with weight loss. Oh, I ate some ice cream. That's it. I ruined the whole thing. Forget it. I just can't do it. Sometimes we need little micro practices. We need little things. We have to start out small and work into making them a bigger part. So think about really creating some micro practices throughout the day to focus your attention to keep you on track. Some things that you can do: meditation. Now, meditation does not have to be sitting down, listening to a guided meditation for 20 minutes every day. Sometimes, and I know it seems crazy, but we don't have 20 minutes. Sometimes we just don't. We don't have 20 minutes. Sometimes 5 minutes will do. Meditation can be done legit sitting, listening to nothing. Sometimes I will just put on a sound machine, just a fan noise or the ocean, and just sit and fall into that. Meditation is learning how to pay attention to the breath as it goes in and out. Honestly, mindfulness meditation, that's kind of how meditation started, was sitting, centering, and just focusing on your breath in and out. And if your thoughts start to wander, just reeling those thoughts back in and bringing your thoughts and yourself back to this present moment and back to your breath in and out. That's what meditation is. We complicate it by saying, oh, I have to sit in a lotus position. And if I don't sit in a lotus position and I don't do meditation for 30 minutes every day, then I'm not meditating and I can't meditate and I can't do it. We set ourselves up to fail. Meditation does not need to look like that. Meditation can go, Thich Nhat Hanh does mindful walking. That's a meditation. You get outside, you start to walk, and instead of letting your thoughts flow away, you focus on every step, how every step feels as it hits the ground, how that earth feels beneath your feet, how the trees look around you. If there's any breeze or any noise, what does it smell like? What are the sounds around you? It's paying attention and being in the present moment of that exercise that is a meditation. So sometimes I feel like I label meditation as I have to sit in this lotus position for 20 minutes and I have to, but sometimes when I'm folding laundry and I am just folding laundry and I am in that present moment for the 10 minutes that I'm folding laundry, I just meditated. It doesn't have to be I take a time out and I da 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 da. No, it's just sometimes for me, shutting down my thoughts and just focusing on one thing and just settling into that and being very mindful and being in that present moment is what it takes. So meditation doesn't have to be this big giant 30-minute thing. It doesn't have to be a guided meditation, although I find that for people who are just starting out meditating, guided meditation is a great way to keep the thoughts from going away. But mantras are also a great way. When I am in a meditation, if my thoughts start to drift, I just simply keep repeating to myself, I am present. I am present. I am in the moment. Repeating that mantra shuts all those thoughts down, focuses on the mantra, and then I can refocus, okay? So mindfulness meditation, we're learning how to pay attention to the breath as it goes in and out, and notice when the mind wanders from this task. This practice of returning to the breath builds the muscles of attention and mindfulness. And that's what meditation is doing. It's building up those muscles. When we pay attention to our breath, we are learning how to return to and remain in the present moment, to anchor ourselves in the here and now on purpose without judgment. That's a big one, without judgment. While meditation isn't a cure-all, it can certainly provide some much needed space in our life. Sometimes that's all we need to make better choices for ourselves, our families, and our communities. And the most important tools that we can bring with us to our meditation practice is a little bit of patience, some kindness for ourselves, and a comfortable place to sit or lay down. When I lay down during meditation, though, I fall asleep, I have to say. When we meditate, we inject far-reaching and long-lasting benefits into our lives. And bonus, we don't need any extra gear or an expensive membership. We can do meditation anywhere. Number 2, practice gratitude. When we practice gratitude, we have to focus our attention on what is positive in our lives in the present moment. It gently brings the good stuff to the forefront of our mind so that we are able to more easily come back into that now moment instead of fretting about the future or rehashing the past. By focusing on the positive, we then become more available to create a more positive future. It is impossible to think about bad things when you're practicing gratitude. When you are paying attention to the things that you're grateful for, you cannot at the same time concentrate on the things that are going badly. So gratitude is a great changer of the tides of energy. Let's see. Number 3 is check in with your body. The body functions without our participation. We breathe automatically. Our heart beats continuously and our bodily functions keep going regardless of what we do. But the body is constantly sending us messages through sensations in the body. Take a moment and check in with your body. What do you notice? Where are you holding tension? Do you have any aches or pains? Do you feel heavy or light? Bringing your attention to your body can help realign your attention to the present, but also connects you to the information you need to take better care of your body. Also, taking this little micro moment to shut down and recenter and focus on your body connects up that mind-body connection, which is a key to living mindfully and in the present moment. Let's see. Number 4, pay attention to your heart. Our emotions are another way the body communicates with us at any given moment. Throughout the day, you might experience a range of emotions from sadness to joy. By checking in with your heart, where your emotions originate, you come into more coherence with yourself. My favorite resource for this is the HeartMath Institute that has done decades of research on the power of the heart and how it affects not only our individual health, but the well-being of others, which is pretty cool. And then the last thing that we can do for a little micro practice throughout the day is fire up your 5 senses. One of the simplest ways of staying mindful is to bring your attention to the present moment. Stop what you are doing for a moment and observe what is going on around you. What noises do you hear? What scents do you smell? What are others around you doing? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, put your full attention there and observe it through your 5 senses for a moment to practice bringing your mind back to the present moment. So those are just little things that you can do every day. I mean, I think journaling is a great mindfulness practice. I don't know that it's necessarily a micro practice because most people like to sit down and really journal at night, but is definitely something that if you feel like there's something going on throughout your day that you just need to get out of you, writing it down, even if it's not in a journal, just getting it out sometimes is a great way to return to the present moment and to release all that stuff out of the body. Thich Nhat Hanh has a great little 5 steps to mindfulness. And these are things that he really leans into. And when he was alive on this earth and teaching mindfulness, these were some things that that he taught about. Mindfulness, he talks about being forgetful and not really being here, that we're caught in the past or in the future. We're not here in the present moment, living life deeply. And again, he considers that to be forgetfulness. And he really focuses a lot on the breath. Allow your breath to take place, become aware of it and enjoy it. Effortlessness, enjoyment. The same thing is true of walking mindfully. Every step you take is enjoyable. Every step helps you touch the wonders of life in yourself and around you. Every step is peace. Every step is joy. That is possible. During the time you are practicing mindfulness, you stop talking. Again, not only talking outside, but the talking inside. The talking inside is the thinking, the mental discourse that goes on and on and on. Real silence is the cessation of talking, as we talked about, both of the mouth and the mind. So some of Thich Nhat Hanh's, the 5 pillars of mindfulness, so that he has laid out is, the first is, these are kind of some exercises that you can cultivate to really help start cultivating mindfulness in your life. So the first mindfulness exercise is mindful breathing. So in this first exercise, it's very simple, but the power of the result can be very great. In this exercise, simply identify the in-breath as the in-breath and the out-breath as the out-breath. So when you breathe in, you know that this is your in-breath. When you breathe out, you are mindful that this is your out-breath. So I have an actual recorded meditation that I give my clients when I'm teaching them how to meditate. This is one of the very first exercises that I give, because we can't start out with a 30-minute guided meditation to the, out into the cosmos and down into the ocean and swimming with whales or whatever we're doing if we don't even know what the heck we're doing. We have to start out small, right? So the first exercise is mindful breathing. And really all this exercise is I am breathing in. I say this in my head. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. And it's basically sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, just focusing on that in-breath and that out-breath. It's how the muscle starts to build. It's the little 20-pound muscles that or dumbbells that you start out with till you build up to the big ones, okay? Just recognizing that this is an in-breath and this is an out-breath is very, very simple. In order to recognize your in-breath as in-breath, you have to bring your mind home to yourself. What is recognizing your in-breath is your mind, and the object of your mind, the object of your mindfulness is the in-breath. Mindfulness is always mindful of something. So when you drink your tea mindfully, it's called mindfulness of drinking. When you walk mindfully, it's called mindfulness of walking. And when you breathe mindfully, that is mindfulness of breathing. Let's see. The second mindfulness exercise is concentration. So the second exercise is that while you breathe in, you follow your in-breath from the beginning to the end. If your in-breath lasts 3 or 4 seconds, then your mindfulness also lasts 3 or 4 seconds. Breathing in, I follow my in-breath all the way through, breathing out. I follow my out-breath all the way through. From the beginning of my out-breath to the end of my out-breath, my mind is always with it. Therefore, mindfulness becomes uninterrupted and the quality of your concentration is improved. So the second exercise is to follow your in-breath and your out-breath all the way through. Whether they are short or long, it doesn't matter. What is important is that you follow your in-breath from the beginning to the end. Your awareness is sustained. There's no interruption. Suppose you are breathing in and then you think, oh, I forgot to turn off the light in my room. That is an interruption. Just stick to your in-breath all the way through. Then you cultivate your mindfulness and your concentration. So exercise number 3 is awareness of your body. So the third exercise is to become aware of your body as you are breathing. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. This takes it one step further. So we're just building on this practice. In the first exercise, you become aware of your in-breath and your out-breath. Because you have now generated the energy of mindfulness through mindful breathing, you can use that energy to recognize your body. Breathing in, I am aware of my body. Breathing out, I am aware of my body. I know my body is there. This brings the mind wholly back to the body. Mind and body become one reality. When your mind is with your body, you are well established in the here and the now. You are fully alive. You can be in touch with the wonders of life that are available in yourself and around you. Number 4 is the mindfulness exercise, releasing tension. So this is releasing tension in the body. When you're truly aware of your body, you notice there is some tension and pain in your body and some stress. The tension and pain have been accumulating for a long time and our bodies suffer, but our mind is not there to help release it. Therefore, it is very important to learn how to release the tension in the body. In a sitting, lying, or standing position, it's always possible to release the tension. You can practice total relaxation, deep relaxation in a sitting or lying position. While you're driving your car, you might notice the tension in your body. You're eager to arrive and you don't enjoy the time you spend driving. When you come to a red light, you are eager for the red light to become a green light so that you can continue. But the red light can be a signal. It can be a reminder that there is tension in you, the stress of wanting to arrive as quickly as possible. If you recognize that, you can make use of the red light. You can sit back and relax, take the 10 seconds the light is red to practice mindful breathing and release the tension in your body. So the next time you're at a red light, give it a try. I've kind of gotten away from that, but I used to do that a lot. And then the walking meditation, we've talked about this. When you practice mindful breathing, you simply allow your in-breath to take place. You become aware of it and you enjoy it. Effortlessness. The same thing is true with mindful walking. Every step is enjoyable. Every step helps you touch the wonders of life. Every step is joy. That is possible. You don't have to make any effort during the walking meditation because it is enjoyable. You are there, body and mind together. You are fully alive, fully present in the here and now. With every step, you touch the wonders of life that are in you and around you. When you walk like that, every step brings healing. Every step brings peace and joy because every step is a miracle. Because it is. Your body is moving. How cool is that? I think about the miracle of flying every time I'm on a plane. Every time I'm on a plane, I look around and I go, how the shit does this happen? How does this big giant tube of metal with all of these people and all of our luggage and all of the fuel and everything, how do we propel through the air? How is it possible that I can get from Phoenix to Tampa in 4 hours? It just doesn't seem possible. It is a miracle. I think if we, all of these things that we've talked about today is just connecting into the wonder and the awe and the miracle that is life. And if we can continue to do that in every moment, we can live 100% mindfully, and we can really start looking at the world through different eyes and through a different lens. So, again, why I wanted to kind of touch on mindfulness today is, again, with any of the things we're doing, but for me, where I'm the director of sound healing, and that's really what I lean into is sound. This is coming up a lot for a lot of you out there, I think, is, you've taken your level 1 of 2 of sound, and now you're kind of looking around and going, okay, what's next? where else can I go with this practice? And one thing that I would really encourage you to do is to really look into our mindfulness training program. I think learning about mindfulness, learning about all of these things that I've just talked about today, and when you learn about these things throughout our course, you're going to be diving into them more. This is just really an overview. I've been talking for an hour and 5 minutes, and I've just barely cracked the surface here. But, you know, if we're going to be doing sound healing, if we're going to be coaching people, if we're going to be working one-on-one with people, we really need to have our own stuff together. We really need to be walking the path that we're helping other people find. We really need to be doing these practices for ourselves. I strive to live mindfully every day. Now, do I succeed in every minute? I definitely don't, but I definitely live more mindfully than I ever have before. I'm also finding that I'm in the flow of the universe more. I'm becoming a better manifester, and all of my dreams are coming true and just coming to me. I have a thought, oh, I'd like to do this. And then before I know it, here it is. And I'm like, oh, I have to be careful about, you know, maybe I didn't need this right now. Maybe I need this 6 months down the road. But thank you, universe, for bringing this to me now. So, you know, mindfulness is just, even if you don't want to get into it to help others, but you feel like it's something that you need to help you, you're never going to regret it. And the cool thing is that our mindfulness program, we're kind of redoing the format of that, where we're going to be breaking that down into levels too, just like we do with the sound healing program, because the mindfulness program is 15 modules. It's overwhelming. It's a lot. And you all want to go in different directions. So level 1 and level 2 are going to be really the foundations of mindfulness. And then when you move on, you get to specialize and go in whatever direction. If you want to learn about addiction or hypnotherapy or equanimity, if you want to get into yoga nidra, if you want to do sound healing, if you want to do, you know, Sam is creating a module on the voice. I'm creating a module on mindful and somatic movement. You know, all of these things are going to be available to you. If you want to learn how to write your own meditations, meditation script writing has helped me so much in my opening and closing of my sound baths, because those words just flow so naturally to me now, because I've really dug into writing my own meditations. I'm also going to be getting back into recording a meditation a week and posting it on my YouTube channel. Writing and recording meditations are a great way for people to get to know you. Also, if you're going to coach meditation, you're going to coach people into meditation, what better way to do it than to record your own meditations? Then when someone comes in, they need to go home and practice whatever meditation it is you're giving them. You send them home with your recorded meditation. It's your voice. You're keeping it all within your brand, within your place. So I think there's just so much that can happen because of this mindfulness piece. So if anybody has any questions about mindfulness moving forward, if you want any sort of information on some different mindful practices, don't hesitate to reach out to anyone on the Mighty Network, but don't hesitate to reach out to me. And, you know, I hope that this was some good information on what mindfulness is. And when we talk about mindfulness practices in our trainings, these are a lot of the foundations and things that we're talking about. And if you can start cultivating some of these things right now, you will notice an immediate shift within your life and within your energy. I guarantee it. So any questions? Pam, you have any questions? Anything you want to say? Okay. Well, thanks for being here. And I hope if anybody watches this in the future that it's helpful. And Pam, I'll see you this coming weekend, and we'll do some training and all of that. And thanks for tuning in today.
I look forward to that.
I know.
All right.
I know. You too. Have a good day, honey.
See you soon. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Bye.